can see evidence of that in the fact he couldn't carry the crossbeam of the cross very far. And also he had great thirst and so forth. So here he is already in critical condition before he's even crucified. And then nails are driven through his wrists, not through the hand, because it would just tear, but driven through his wrists and through his feet. He's hoisted on the cross. And what happens when you're in that position is that it puts incredible stresses on your chest muscles. So you can't breathe. And so you're hanging on that cross. You're having trouble breathing. You can take air in, but you not expel the air. And so you're on the cross, and the only way you can continue to breathe is by lessening the stress on your chest muscles. The only way you can do that is push up with your feet, which of course have a spike through them, and your bloodied back is now scraping against the coarse wood of the cross. And you let up, and you can exhale, and then you inhale again, and then you settle down, and then you just keep going through that motion time and time again until you can't do it anymore. And your acidic qualities are building up in your blood. Your heart rate is now getting irregular, and you actually end up dying of asphyxiation. Ultimately, can't breathe. That causes your heart to fail. And what's interesting as well is that this would cause fluid to collect around your heart and around your lungs. And so when the spear was thrust into him to make sure he was dead, John interestingly describes water and blood coming out. And people think, oh, well, that's just a metaphor for baptism or something. No. That is what would happen. The pericardial effusion, in other words, the membrane of fluid around the heart and the lung was punctured, and what looked like water would come out as well as blood, and he was declared dead. Now, I used to think like a skeptic, oh, wait a minute, maybe he survived the cross somehow. Maybe he fainted and they thought he was dead. Well, that's been disproven 1,000 times in many different ways, but the Journal of the American Medical Association several years ago published an evaluation of the death of Jesus Christ, and the conclusion was, quote, "Clearly, the weight of the historical and medical evidence indicates that Jesus was dead even before the wound to his side was inflicted." So, and in fact, the atheist New Testament scholar, Gerhard Ludemann, says it's indisputable that Jesus was truly dead after being crucified. We have no record anywhere of anyone ever surviving a full Roman crucifixion. And not only do we have multiple reports of his death in the documents of the New Testament, we got 5 ancient sources outside the Bible that confirm his execution. So we have Josephus, a first-century Jewish historian who worked for the Romans. Tacitus, another early historian. Mirabar Serapion, Lucian,